So if you watch my last video, I talked about what I thought was probably the greatest boss fight in the Arkham games. Now, I'm sure many will say Mr. Freeze and all that, but that aside, I think what I'm trying to highlight is not necessarily as to the quality or the depth or the intensity of the given scenario, but the fact that this boss fight that was actually done with Shocker in Arkham Origins. It's the one that I showed in my last video, where basically there's all this buildup, right? With his name is Electrocutioner, and in all of the buildup and in all of the noise making that this character was doing, what eventually happens is Batman knocks him out in one hit, literally. Now, one thing a lot of people haven't talked about is the immediate boss fight that follows up actually is set up by this boss fight. This boss fight is unpredictable because you think you're gonna fight this electrocutioner guy. You know, you're basically standing. He's mouthing off. He made all this huge, crazy whatever talk with his intro. He's basically pumping himself up. He's got a fan base that's right on his back, right? And then bam, when it's time for you and him to fight, the fight is basically anticlimactic because this guy is not a threat at all to you. In fact, the devs basically troll you. Like I said in my other video, they even give you a health bar for him. Put his name up there. Oh yeah, he's gonna fight the boss. Yeah, yoo-hoo. And then the next thing you know, as you push a button, bam, he's out. Now here's the really brilliant thing about this. The very next fight that you're going to have in this same arena is your fight with Deathstroke. You and him basically meet in a weird scenario. It's kind of uncanny because he drags you into the same arena that you just knocked out Electrocutioner in just one hit. But Batman is about to face a really worthy adversary in this particular fight. So I remember, and I don't know if you remember the first time you played it, what were you expecting? Did you think that you were going to knock this guy out in one hit? You didn't know what to expect. I didn't know what to expect. I remember then going, okay, I feel like I've been here before. However, this is a different bad guy. I got a health bar. He's walking around. He's bragging. However, something is a little different. This guy is about business. I'm hitting him and he's countering me. He is now the adversary that basically can do some of the stuff that I do. And now I have to basically be on the other side in terms of how I attack him. And I think that setup was actually pretty cool. Yes, there are criticisms as to the Deathstroke fight in Arkham Origins, but ladies and gentlemen, it's actually better than the one in Arkham Knight. Believe you me, the one in Arkham Knight was a tank. So in the Arkham, video game mythos or, world or whatever in terms of what we've played, this is still the best encounter you have with Deathstroke. As much as many might say, well, he seemed a little basic and such, it is what the developers were able to pull together. I watched the podcast where they were talking about one of the lead combat designers in Gotham Knights, who was a QA tester and also, working on some systems when he first started, video games. He worked at Warner Brothers Montreal in the production of Origins. And he was telling, in this podcast how they actually did this, some of the fights with some of the bosses. It was just basically taking the counter system and just multiplying it over and over in different fashions in order for them to be able to build a fight with it. So these guys, they knew they were given a gift. If you've been given the combat system for, Rocksteady's Arkham City game, I mean, that's the only situation we've heard of it. I don't know if you guys know, Ben Mattis, the studio head at the time, said that they were actually given the combat system, right? Basically, they went ahead and just gifted it to them. And if it's something that you've been gifted, then you know that it's a big responsibility. But they took it and they did a really good job. I think it was actually, in my opinion, one of the better, uses of assets that I've seen in my time just looking at video games and such. And as someone who's making his own video game, I can tell you that combat is the hardest part, one of the hardest anyways to design from an individual, or I would say from an isolated perspective. But this is one of those fights that I wanted to highlight because I think it's one of those fights that did come with a lot of curveballs. It had some really interesting aspects to it. The choreography was solid. It was like a Batman game. Like, the camera movement, camera work, all that stuff was just so well done. You could just tell the way the character blends in the animations back and forth. Oh, high quality stuff here, man. No doubt about that. I don't know what Warner Brothers Montreal, was cooking up, but this is some really, really good stuff. They do seem to have a good animation pipeline, though. A lot of these studios, they use, mocap, and they hire like professionals. They're able to get the data, accentuate it, use some camera work to make it really cool. Look at the way the camera is just basically, doing some good work, zooming in, zooming out. That to me is where the quality is overall. But I thought I'd go ahead and highlight this in this video. Thank you guys for watching, and thank you guys for joining this journey of walking through a lot of these old school superhero games. I think to me they're a book. I'm reading, I'm watching, I'm playing, trying to make my own video game, and man, the journey is just so cool overall. And I hope I'm able to actually do it. I hope my team and I were able to pull it off, because we have a lot of learning material. Even though we may not be able to execute on the technical side, there's still very valuable lessons to be learned here, because these were and are beloved games that have basically influenced a lot of people. Talk to me in the comment section. Let me hear your thoughts in the comment section. Hopefully we can talk in another video. Peace out.